Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Renova and watched the stars through the main window. His ship was not big or fancy like the warships of other species. It looked simple and plain, just like humans wanted everyone to think they were. The ship moved quietly through space toward Gamma Nexus Station, carrying the most important passenger Jake had ever transported. Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez sat in her quarters reading reports on her tablet. The reports were not good news. 17 human colonies had been attacked in the past 6 months. Thousands of people were dead. Families had been torn apart. Children had lost their parents. The Krellin Empire was responsible for all of it, and they seemed proud of what they had done. Lisa had been trying to make peace with the Krellins for 2 years now. Every meeting was the same. They would demand more territory. They would threaten more attacks. They would laugh at her when she offered compromises, but she kept smiling and kept trying to find a peaceful solution. That was what Earth had told her to do. The Terranova docked at Gamma Nexus 3 hours later. The station was neutral ground built by the Galactic Federation for meetings between different species. It was supposed to be a safe place where enemies could talk without fighting. Jake watched through his window as Krillin warships surrounded the station. They were not supposed to bring weapons here, but nobody seemed to care about the rules anymore. Station Commander Alan Brooks met them at the airlock. Alan was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been running Gamma Nexus for 15 years and had seen many wars start and end. He shook hands with Lisa and Jake, but his face looked worried. The Krellins arrived this morning, Alan said as they walked through the station corridors. They brought 12 warships. War Commander Vexeter is leading their group. He has been making demands since he got here. Lisa nodded. She had dealt with Vexar before. He was cruel and enjoyed causing pain to others. He saw humans as weak because they always try to talk instead of fight. What kind of demands? She asked. He wants all human colonies in the outer rim sectors, Alan replied. He says if humans do not give them up willingly, the Kree will take them by force. He also wants Earth to pay tribute to the Kree Empire every year. Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept quiet. He was just a ship captain. His job was to fly the ship and protect the ambassador, but it was hard to stay calm when he heard about innocent people being killed. The meeting room was large with a round table in the center. Representatives from 6 different species sat around the table. The Kree had brought 5 delegates, all wearing black armor and carrying weapons. War Commander Vexar sat at the head of their group. He was tall with red skin and sharp teeth. His eyes were cold and mean. Lisa took her seat across from Vexar. She placed her hands on the table and smiled politely. War Commander, thank you for agreeing to meet with us today. I hope we can find a solution that works for everyone. Vexar laughed loudly. The sound echoed through the room and made several other delegates look uncomfortable. Solution. The only solution is your surrender. Human, your species has shown nothing but weakness since you joined the Federation. You talk and talk but never fight. You are like insects that buzz around but cannot sting. We prefer peace to war, Lisa said calmly. Surely there is a way for our species to coexist without violence. Perhaps we could establish trade agreements or share technology that would benefit both our civilizations. Trade? Vexar stood up and slammed his fist on the table. We do not trade with prey animals. We take what we want. Your colonies burn because you are too weak to stop us. Your people die because you send diplomats instead of soldiers. Jake watched from his position near the wall. His hands were clenched into fists, but he forced himself to stay still. Alan Brooke stood beside him, and Jake could see the older man's jaw was tight with anger. Vexar activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. Images appeared in the air showing burning buildings and destroyed ships. These were scenes from the human colonies that had been attacked. Jake recognized some of the places. He had visited New Phoenix Colony just 2 years ago. Now it was nothing but ash and rubble. Look at your failures, Vexar said with pleasure in his voice. New Phoenix, Cedar Falls, Riverside Station, all gone, all burned, all conquered. And what did humanity do? They sent more diplomats to beg for mercy. Lisa watched the images without changing her expression. She had seen these pictures before, but they still hurt her heart. Each destroyed building represented lives lost, dreams ended, futures stolen, but she continued to smile and speak in a calm voice. These attacks were unprovoked and unnecessary, she said. The colonies you destroyed were peaceful farming communities. They had no weapons, no military installations. They posed no threat to the Kreen Empire. That is exactly why they were easy to destroy, Vexar replied. Weak creatures deserve to be eliminated. The strong rule the galaxy and the weak serve or die. This is the natural order of things. Other delegates around the table shifted uncomfortably. Even species that were not friendly with humans seemed disturbed by Vexar's casual talk of murder, but nobody spoke up to challenge him. The Kryn Empire was powerful, and most species were afraid of making them angry. Lisa opened a folder and pulled out several documents. I have prepared a proposal that I believe addresses your concerns while protecting human interests. We are willing to negotiate mining rights in 3 systems, establish joint research facilities, and provide agricultural technology that could help feed your growing population. Vexar swept the documents off the table. With his arm, the papers scattered across the floor. We do not want your charity, human. We want your submission. You will surrender all Outer Rim territories to the Kryn Empire within 30 days, or we will take them by force. You will also begin paying tribute of 1 million credits per month to show your acceptance of Krillin superiority. That is unacceptable, Lisa said, still maintaining her calm tone. Those territories contain millions of human civilians. We cannot simply abandon them, then they will die with their colonies, Vexar said with a smile that showed his sharp teeth, just like the others did. Your choice is simple, Ambassador. Surrender or watch your species burn. The room fell silent. Jake could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Alan Brooks had gone pale and was staring at the floor. The other delegates looked scared and uncomfortable. Lisa stood up slowly. She gathered the scattered documents from the floor and placed them back in her folder. When she spoke, her voice was still polite, but something had changed in her eyes. War Commander Vexeter, I came here hoping to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. I offered reasonable compromises and tried to address your concerns, but you have made it clear that you are not interested in peace. You want only conquest and destruction. Finally, the human shows some backbone. Vexar laughed, but it is too late. Your weakness has already sealed your fate. Lisa reached into her jacket and pulled out a small communication device. She pressed a button and spoke clearly into it. Control, this is Ambassador Rodriguez. Authorization code Alpha 77. Charlie, Protocol 7 is authorized. Repeat, Protocol 7 is authorized. A voice crackled back through the device. Confirmed. Ambassador Protocol 7 is now active. Earth Command acknowledges. Vexar looked confused. What game are you playing now, human? Lisa smiled, but this time it was different. This smile was not polite or diplomatic. It was the smile of someone who had just made a very important decision. No game, War Commander. That was Earth's final attempt at courtesy. You have made your choice, and now we will make ours. 3 days after the failed meeting at Gamma Nexus, War Commander Vexar felt very pleased with himself. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his attack fleet move toward the human colony of New Dallas. 57 Kreen warships flew in perfect formation through space. It was more than enough firepower to destroy any human settlement. Target confirmed ahead, War Commander reported his weapons officer. New Dallas colony population 43,000 humans. Our sensors show basic farming equipment and civilian structures. No military installations detected. Vexar smiled with satisfaction. This would be easy, just like all the other human colonies they had attacked. The humans would send distress signals, asking for help that would never come. They would beg for mercy that he would not give. Then their homes would burn, and their people would die. On the surface of New Dallas, Colonel Sam Turner watched the approaching Krelland fleet through his command sense main screen. Sam was a quiet man in his 50s with gray hair and steady hands. The other colonists thought he was just another farmer who had retired to the outer rim for a peaceful life. They had no idea what he really was. Sir C.R. Lynn. Attack fleet dropping out of hyperspace, reported Lieutenant Casey Morgan from her position at the communications console. Casey looked young and innocent, like a farm girl who had never seen combat, but her fingers moved across the control panel with the skill of a trained military operator. How many ships? Sam asked calmly. 7 warships, mostly heavy cruisers and destroyers. They are moving into attack formation. Sam nodded and pressed a button on his chair. Throughout the colony, hidden speakers came to life with his voice. Attention all residents, this is Colonel Turner. Please move to your assigned positions immediately. Operation Harvest Moon is now active across New Dallas. Something remarkable began to happen. Farmers put down their tools and opened hidden weapon lockers. Tractors and harvesting machines transformed into armored vehicles with mounted guns. Grain silos split open to reveal missile launchers. What had looked like a peaceful farming community revealed itself as something very different. Martha Collins had been tending her vegetable garden when the alarm sounded. She was 62 years old with kind eyes and gentle hands. Her neighbors knew her as the woman who grew the best tomatoes on the planet. They did not know she had spent 20 years as a demolitions expert in the Earth Defense Corps. Martha walked to her barn and pressed her hand against a hidden scanner. The wooden walls slid away to show a command center filled with advanced military equipment. She sat down at the main console and began typing commands with practiced ease, perimeter defense grid. Online, she announced into her headset. All weapon systems armed and ready. The skies above New Dallas, the Crayon fleet moved closer to the planet, Vexar. Expected to see panicked civilians running in fear. Instead, his sensors began picking up energy signatures that should not exist on a farming world. War Commander, I am detecting unusual power readings from the surface, his sensor operator reported with confusion. In his voice, the energy levels are much higher than expected for a civilian colony, probably just their generators powering up, Vexar said dismissively. Humans always waste energy on pointless things. Begin the attack, the Kralin ships open fire with their plasma cannons. Bright beams of deadly energy streaked down toward the colony, but instead of hitting helpless buildings, the beams struck powerful energy shields that flared to life around the entire settlement. Impossible, Vexar whispered as he watched his weapons have no effect. How do they have military-grade shielding? His answer came in the form of missile launches from the planet's surface. Hundreds of advanced rockets shot up from concealed positions all around New Dallas. These were not simple defensive weapons, they were ship-killer missiles with targeting systems more advanced than anything the Krillins had seen before. Evasive maneuvers, Vexar shouted, but it was too late. The missiles moved too fast and were too smart to be avoided. They struck the Kreon ships with devastating accuracy. In less than 3 minutes, 26 warships were destroyed or crippled. Colonel Turner watched the battle from his command center with no emotion on his face. This was not his first space battle, and it would not be his last. He had fought in wars that the galaxy had never heard about, using weapons that officially did not exist. Sir, the remaining Krellin ships are trying to retreat, Lieutenant Morgan reported. Negative, Sam replied calmly. No survivors, we cannot let them report what they have seen here. More missiles launched from the planet. These were even faster than the first wave. They chased down the fleeing Krellin ships and destroyed them one by one. Within 10 minutes of starting their attack, Vexar's entire fleet was nothing but burning wreckage floating in space. The news of the New Dallas battle spread quickly through the Galactic Federation's communication networks. Admiral Kate Phillips sat in her office on Luna Base, reading the reports with a slight smile on her face. Kate was the head of Human Fleet Command, but most of the galaxy thought she commanded only a few dozen outdated ships. Her communication system chimed with an incoming message from the Altarian Council. The Altarians were longtime allies of humanity and had been worried about the Krillin attacks. Admiral Phillips, we have received disturbing reports about the engagement at New Dallas, said Counselor Zareth, her blue skin showing concern. How did a farming colony defeat an entire Krellin battle fleet? Kate maintained the same diplomatic smile that humans had been using for decades. Better resource allocation, Counselor. We decided to invest more in planetary defense systems for our outer rim colonies. It seems the investment paid off, but our sensors detected weapon signatures that match military-grade arsenals. The energy readings were off the charts. That level of firepower should be impossible for a civilian settlement. I assure you, everything we did was within Federation guidelines for colonial defense, Kate replied smoothly. Perhaps the Kree simply underestimated human determination to protect our families. On the Krillin home world, War Leader Supreme Kal received the news of his fleet's destruction with rage and disbelief. He had expected Vexar to return with news of another easy victory. Instead, his subordinate was dead and 57 ships were lost. How is this possible? He roared at his intelligence officers. Our report said the humans were weak. They have no real military. They spend their time farming and writing poetry. Sir, we are reviewing all our intelligence on human capabilities, replied his chief analyst. Nervously, it appears our information may have been incomplete. Cattle slammed his fist on his desk hard, enough to crack the metal surface. Humans had made him look like a fool. They had destroyed his ships and killed his warriors. This could not stand. His reputation as a conqueror was at stake. Prepare the third battle group, he ordered. 150 ships. We will attack their research station at Kepler. If they want to play games with hidden weapons, we will show them what real military power looks like. Back on New Dallas, life was returning to normal. The weapon systems were hidden again. The shields were powered down and the farmers went back to tending their crops. Martha Collins was back in her garden, watering her tomatoes as if nothing had happened. But in a secure communication room beneath the colony's main building, Colonel Turner was having a very different conversation. He was speaking directly with Earth Command using a quantum communication link that could not be intercepted. Sir, the Krillins took the bait perfectly, he reported to the figure on his screen. They attacked with standard force levels and tactics. We eliminated them without revealing our full capabilities. Excellent work, Colonel, came the reply. Intelligence suggests they will escalate with their next attack. Are you prepared for Phase 2? Sam Turner allowed himself a small smile. Sir, we have been preparing for this for over a century. The galaxy is about to learn what humans are really capable of when we stop being polite. The communication ended and Sam walked outside to look up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krillin Empire was planning their next attack. They thought they had learned something about human capabilities from the battle at New Dallas. They were wrong. They had only seen the very tip of a very large iceberg. The mask was beginning to slip, but humanity was not ready to show their true face just yet. There were still lessons to teach, and the crayons were eager students, even if they did not know it yet. War Leader Supreme Kal stood in his command center, staring at the tactical display showing 150 of his best warships. The third battle group was the pride of the Kree Empire. These ships had conquered 12 star systems and destroyed hundreds of enemy vessels. Surely they would be enough to crush whatever trick the humans had used at New Dallas. Target acquired, War Leader reported his navigation officer. Kepler station is directly ahead. Our intelligence shows it is a small research facility with maybe 2,000 humans aboard. Crackle smiled with his sharp teeth showing. Good. We will make an example of this place. Record everything so the galaxy can see what happens to those who resist the Krillin Empire. The massive Krillin fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. What they expected to see was a small space station surrounded by a few defensive satellites. What they actually saw made several officers gasp in Surprise, Kepler Station was not small. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon. Weapons platforms surrounded it like a deadly cloud. Energy readings from the station showed power levels that should have been impossible for a simple research facility. Sir, this does not match our intelligence reports, said the sensor operator with worry in his voice. The station is 10 times larger than expected, and I am reading military-grade weapons throughout the structure. Before Crack Tool could respond, communication signal came from the station. The main screen showed a human woman in a military uniform. She had short brown hair and calm eyes that seemed to look right through him. I am Commander Susan Blake of Kepler Defense Station, she said in a steady voice. You are entering human territory. Without permission, you have 30 seconds to reverse course and leave this system immediately. Cattle laughed loudly. You dare threaten the third battle group with your pathetic station? We have 150 warships. You are just another human colony that thinks hiding behind walls will save you. Commander Blake did not change her expression. You have been warned. What happens next is your choice. The communication ended. Crackle turned to his weapons officer. Destroy that station. Show them the power of the Cran Empire. The third battle group opened fire with everything. They had plasma cannons, missile launchers, and energy beams all focused on Kepler Station. The amount of firepower was enough to crack a planet. But when the light from the explosions faded, the station was still there. Its shields had absorbed the entire attack without even flickering. Impossible, Krell whispered. Nothing can withstand that much firepower. His answer came from the station itself. Weapon ports opened all along its hull, revealing cannons that were larger than most Krillin ships. The first shot from Kepler Station punched straight through 3 Krillin cruisers, destroying them instantly. The second shot took out 5 more ships. Evasive action. Crackle screamed, but his ships were too close together to maneuver effectively. The station's weapons fired again and again, each shot destroying multiple targets. The weapons were so advanced that they seemed to bend the laws of physics. On Kepler Station, Commander Blake watched the battle from her command center. The room was filled with the most advanced technology in human space, operated by officers who looked nothing like simple researchers. These were elite military personnel who had been waiting years for this moment. Ma'am, 60% of the Krelland fleet has been neutralized, reported Lieutenant Carl Johnson from his weapons console. Remaining ships are attempting to retreat. Negative, Blake replied calmly. No survivors. We cannot allow them to report our true capabilities to their leaders. The station's weapon systems tracked the fleeing Krillin ships with perfect accuracy. Long-range missiles launched from hidden bays, chasing down every vessel that tried to escape. Within 20 minutes, the entire third battle group was nothing but floating debris. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Admiral Ryan Kelly received reports of the Kepler Station battle while reviewing tactical displays in his command center. On Luna Base, Ryan was a tall man with gray eyes who had spent his entire life preparing for this day. Most of the galaxy thought he commanded perhaps 50 outdated human ships. The truth was very different. His communication officer looked up from her console. Sir, we are receiving multiple priority Signals from across the Federation. Every major species wants to know how we destroyed the Krillin third battle. Group standard response, Ryan replied. We invested in better defensive technology, nothing more, but the questions kept coming. The Altarians, the Centauri Alliance, even the normally quiet vegan Confederation were demanding explanations. How had humans suddenly developed weapons that could destroy entire fleets? Where had the technology come from? Why had no one detected these capabilities before on Earth? President Helen Carter sat in her office reading intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Helen was in her 60s with silver hair and sharp intelligence. She had been planning for this moment since she was first elected 10 years ago. The reports showed that panic was starting to spread through the Federation. General Patricia Stone entered the office carrying a secure data pad. Patricia was the head of Earth Defense Command, though the galaxy thought she only managed a few thousand soldiers. The reality was that she commanded the most advanced military force in known space. Madame President, the Krins are preparing for a final assault, Patricia reported. Intelligence suggests they are gathering every available ship for an attack on Earth itself. Helen nodded. How many ships? Conservative estimates put their fleet at over 3,000 vessels. They are calling it the Great Cleansing Fleet. War leader Supreme Crackle plans to lead the attack personally, and our preparations. Patricia smiled grimly. The Earth Defense Fleet is ready. All hidden installations are online. The Mars shipyards have completed their final production runs. Luna Command is fully operational. We have been preparing for this day for over a century. Helen stood up and walked to her window. She could see the lights of cities across the night side of Earth. Millions of people lived normal lives down there, not knowing that their planet was about to become the center of the greatest space battle in galactic history. What about our allies in the Federation? Helen asked. Most are in a state of panic, Patricia replied. They are trying to figure out how we suddenly became so powerful. Some are even suggesting that we have been lying to them for decades about our true capabilities. We have been lying to them, Helen said quietly. We have been pretending to be weak when we are actually the strongest species in the galaxy. We did it because we hoped they would choose peace over war. Some did. Others chose poorly. A secure communication came in from the outer rim. It was Captain Jake Morrison reporting from the Terra Renova. His ship had been monitoring Krellin communications and fleet movements. Madame President, the Krellin Great Cleansing Fleet has begun moving towards Saul. Jake reported. Our estimates show they will arrive in approximately 18 hours. This appears to be everything they have left. Helen looked at General Stone. Are we ready to show them who we really are? More than ready, Patricia replied. The Earth Defense Fleet has been waiting a long time for this opportunity. When the Krillins arrive, they will find out why humanity has been so patient for so long. Helen activated the communication system that connected her to every human military commander in the galaxy. When she spoke, her voice carried the authority of a species that had finally decided to stop pretending. This is President Carter to all commands. The time for courtesy has ended. The Krellin Empire has chosen war over peace, conquest over cooperation. They will arrive at Earth tomorrow expecting to find a defenseless world. Instead, they will discover the truth that we have hidden for a century. Prepare for final operations. It is time to show the galaxy who we really are. Across human space, fleets began moving out of hidden bases, weapon systems powered up. Soldiers prepared for battle. The mask was about to come off completely, and the galaxy would never be the same again. War Leader Supreme Kull stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching the largest fleet in Krellin history move through space. 3,000 warships flew in perfect formation toward the Sol system. This was every vessel the Krell Empire could gather, pulled from every corner of their territory. It was enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. War Leader, we will reach the human home system in 1 hour, reported his navigation officer. All ships are reporting ready for battle. The great cleansing fleet awaits your orders. Crack Tool felt satisfaction flow through him. The humans had embarrassed him twice with their hidden tricks and secret weapons, but no amount of trickery could stand against 3,000 ships. He would burn their home world to ash and make them pay for every Kreen warrior they had killed. Open a channel to all ships, he commanded. Today we end the human plague forever. Today we show the galaxy what happens to those who dare resist Krellin might. When we are finished, Earth will be nothing but dead rock floating in space. The massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Crack Tool expected to see a few human ships desperately trying to defend their world. What he saw instead made his blood turn cold with shock. The Sol system was filled with human warships. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands upon thousands. Ships of designs he had never seen before, built with technology that seemed impossible. The fleet waiting for them was easily twice the size of his own force. Sir, I am counting over 6,000 human vessels, his sensor operator said with fear in his voice. These ships do not match any known human designs. Some of them are larger than our biggest dreadnoughts. Admiral Ryan Kelly stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Earth's Pride. Watching the Krillin fleet arrive, Ryan had been preparing for this moment his entire career. Around him, his officers worked at control stations that were centuries ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. Signal from Luna Command, sir, reported his communications officer. General Stone confirms all defense platforms are online. Mars shipyards report fleet deployment complete. All hidden installations throughout the system are now active. Ryan nodded. The Sol system had been transformed into the most heavily defended location. The galaxy, Luna, was not just a moon anymore, but a massive fortress bristling with weapons. Mars had been converted into the largest shipyard and military base in known space. Even the asteroid belt contained hidden weapon platforms and supply stations. Send a message to the Krillin fleet, Ryan ordered. Tell them this is their final chance to surrender and leave human space forever. The message was transmitted to Crackle's flagship. The Krillin leader watched as a human admiral appeared on his screen. Ryan Kelly looked calm and confident, showing no fear despite being outnumbered. War Leader Supreme Crackle, I am Admiral Kelly of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now and your crews will be allowed to live. Continue this attack and you will all die here today. Crackle roared with anger. You dare threaten me, human? I have 3,000 ships. You cannot hide behind Tricks forever. No tricks, Ryan replied calmly, just the truth. For 100 years humanity has been patient, we have been diplomatic, we have been courteous, we pretended to be weak because we hoped you would choose to be better, you chose poorly. The communication ended. Crack Tool screamed orders to his fleet to attack. But before his ships could move, the human fleet struck first. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of power that defied everything the galaxy thought they knew about warfare. Human ships moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons fired beams of energy that cut through Krelland armor like paper. Their missiles were so advanced they seemed to think for themselves. Captain Nicole Adams commanded the dreadnought Liberty's Edge, one of the newest ships in the human fleet. Her vessel alone was more powerful than most entire battle fleets. She watched the tactical display as her ship's weapons destroyed Krillin vessels with single shots. Ma'am, the enemy fleet is breaking apart, reported her weapons officer. They are trying to retreat, but our ships are too fast. None of them will escape. Nicole opened a communication channel that broadcast to every ship in both fleets. When she spoke, her voice carried the authority of a species that had finally stopped hiding. For 100 years we have been courteous, we have been diplomatic, we have been patient, we pretended to be weak because we hoped you would choose to be better, you chose poorly. The words echoed across space as human weapons continued their devastating work. Krillin ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Their shields meant nothing against human technology. Their armor was useless against human weapons. In less than 2 hours, the great cleansing fleet was nothing but wreckage. War Leader Supreme Crackle found himself alone on his damaged bridge, his crew dead around him. His mighty fleet was gone. His empire's greatest military force had been destroyed by humans he had thought were weak farmers and scientists. A final message came from Admiral Kelly. War Leader, your ship is the only one left. You can surrender and live to tell your people what happened here, or you can die with honor. The choice is yours. Kel looked at the tactical display, showing thousands of human ships surrounding his crippled vessel. He thought about his empire, his people, his lifetime of conquest and victory. All of it meant nothing now. The humans had been playing a game he never understood, and he had lost completely. He activated his ship's self-destruct system rather than face the shame of surrender. The explosion lit up space for a brief moment, then faded to nothing on Earth. Billions of people watched the battle through live broadcasts. They had lived their entire lives thinking their planet was protected by a small defense fleet. Now they learned the truth about what their government had been building in secret. For over a century, President Helen Carter addressed the world from her office. My fellow humans, today you have seen the truth about our place in the galaxy. We are not the weak species others believed us to be. We are not the farmers and poets they thought we were. We are the most advanced civilization known space, and we have been hiding our strength out of hope, not fear. General Patricia Stone coordinated the cleanup operations from Luna Command. The massive fortress revealed itself to the galaxy for the first time, its weapons and defenses making it clear that Earth had never been vulnerable to attack. All Krall vessels destroyed, she reported to the president. Total human casualties are 0. The Sol System defense grid performed perfectly. Our ships are now moving to secure former Krayland territories and protect civilian populations throughout the galaxy. News of the battle spread like wildfire. Species that had known humans for a century suddenly realized they had never known them at all. The quiet farmers and diplomats had been hiding the most powerful military force in Galactic history. Commander Eric Stone monitored communications from his intelligence vessel, listening to the panic spreading through dozens of governments. Eric had spent years gathering intelligence on other species while they completely failed to understand what humanity really was. Sir, we are receiving surrender offers from 17 different species, he reported to Admiral Kelly. They are all claiming they never supported the Krellin attacks and want to establish formal peace treaties. Ryan Kelly looked out at the wreckage of the Krellin fleet floating in space around Earth. 3,000 ships reduced to scrap metal and dust, the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen, destroyed in a single afternoon by humans who had been pretending to be weak. Send word to all Federation members, he ordered. The age of Krillin aggression is over. Any species that chooses peace will find humanity to be the same neighbor we have always been. Any species that chooses war will discover what the Kraylians learn. Today, the galaxy would never be the same. The balance of power had shifted completely, and everyone now understood that humanity had been holding back for over a century. The question that remained was simple: what would they do with their revealed power? Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez stood before the Galactic Federation Council for what she knew would be the last time in her old role. The council chamber was packed with representatives from every known species in the galaxy, but the woman who faced them now was very different from the polite diplomat they remembered. Gone was the gentle smile and soft voice. Lisa stood straight and tall, her eyes sharp and commanding. When she spoke, her words carried the weight of a species that had finally stopped pretending to be something they were not. Honored delegates, for 112 years, humanity has been a member of this Federation. We have followed your laws, respected your customs, and tried to build peaceful relationships with all species. We did this because we believed in the dream of a galaxy united, cooperation rather than conquest. The chamber was completely silent. Every representative hung on her words, knowing that everything had changed. After the destruction of the Kreen Empire, some of you were true partners in that dream. Lisa continued. The Altarians shared knowledge freely. The Century Alliance opened trade routes. The Vegan Confederation offered friendship without asking for anything. In return, to you we offer our continued partnership and respect. She paused and looked directly at several specific delegates, but others saw our courtesy as weakness. You watched the Kree attack our colonies and kill our people. You said nothing when they demanded our surrender. Some of you even encouraged them, thinking humanity was too weak to fight back. President Helen Carter appeared on the main screen via quantum communication. From Earth, the president looked tired, but satisfied, like someone who had carried a heavy burden for years and finally set it down. The Federation has asked how humanity suddenly became so powerful. Helen said the answer is simple. We were always this powerful. We chose to hide our strength because we hoped you would choose to be better than Your warlike ancestors, holographic. Displays activated throughout the chamber showing images that shocked the assembled delegates, human colonies that everyone thought were small farming settlements revealed themselves as massive industrial complexes. Research stations showed their true nature as military installations, trade. Ships opened hidden weapon bays. Every human colony has been a fortress, Helen continued. Every research station has been a military base. Every trade vessel has been a warship in disguise. We have been building the most advanced civilization in galactic history while pretending to be simple farmers and scientists. Admiral Kate Phillips stepped forward to address the council. For decades other species had thought she commanded a small fleet of outdated ships. Now they learned she was the head of the most powerful military force in known space. Our technology is centuries ahead of anything you possess, Kate explained. We developed faster than light travel. Most of you were discovering fire. We built quantum computers while you were using mechanical calculators. We mastered genetic engineering while you were learning basic agriculture. The Altarian representative, Counselor Zareth, spoke up with confusion in her voice. But why hide such capabilities? Why pretend to be weak when you could have ruled the galaxy? Lisa smiled, but it was a sad smile. Because we hoped you would prove that ruling was not necessary. We wanted to see if species could work together as equals instead of living under the boot of conquerors. Some of you gave us that hope. Others proved we were naive to believe in it. Captain Jake Morrison entered the chamber carrying a data pad filled with intelligence reports. His ship, the Turda Renova, had been monitoring communications across the galaxy since the battle at Earth. What he had discovered painted a clear picture of which species had been humanity's true allies. We have evidence that 47 different species knew about Krillin plans to attack human colonies. Jake announced 31 of those species actively encouraged the attacks. 12 provided intelligence to help the Krillins target civilian populations. Only 8 species warned us or offered assistance. Chamber erupted in nervous chatter as delegates realized humanity had been watching and listening to everything. Their private communications, their secret meetings, their hidden agendas. Humans had seen it all. General Patricia Stone appeared on another screen, broadcasting from Luna Command. Behind her, the massive fortress showed its true size and power for the first time. Weapon systems that could crack planets were clearly visible in the background. The Kreen Empire is finished, Patricia announced. Their military is destroyed. Their government has surrendered and their territory is now under human protection. We are currently evacuating Kryn civilians to safe worlds where they can start new lives away from their warlike culture. But this is not about conquest, she continued. We do not want to rule over other species. We want to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. The galaxy has a choice to make about what kind of future it wants. President Carter returned to the main screen. From this day forward, humanity will no longer pretend to be weak. We will not hide our capabilities or apologize for our strength, but we will use that strength to protect, not to conquer. The president activated a holographic map showing the entire galaxy. Human ships were moving to dozens of systems, but not to attack them. They were positioning themselves to defend against aggression and protect trade routes. Any species that chooses peace will find us to be the same neighbors we have always been, Helen declared. We will trade fairly, share knowledge freely, and respect your independence, but any species that chooses war will face the full might of humanity's military. Commander Eric Stone had been monitoring the reactions of different species throughout the galaxy. His intelligence reports showed panic in some governments and relief in others. The galaxy was dividing into those who had been secret enemies and those who had been true friends. Madame President, we are receiving formal surrender documents from the Zephyr Consortium and the Riel Federation. Eric reported both groups were planning to follow the Kreen example. They are now requesting mercy and offering full cooperation. Lisa looked around the council chamber. One final time, some delegates looked terrified. Others seemed relieved, and a few appeared angry that their secret plans had been exposed. The age of hidden weakness is over, she announced. Humanity will no longer sacrifice our people for the comfort of those who mistake kindness for cowardice. We tried to show you a better way through. Example, since that failed, we will show you a better way through strength. She gathered her documents and prepared to leave. This council can choose to work with us as equals, or it can become irrelevant. The Federation we joined no longer exists. What takes its place depends on the choices you make in the coming days. As Lisa walked out of the chamber, she knew she would never return as a beggar, asking for peace. If she came back, it would be as the representative of the most powerful species in the galaxy, negotiating from a position of absolute strength. Behind her, the delegates began the difficult process of adjusting to a new reality. The galaxy had changed forever, and everyone now understood that humanity had been restraining itself for over a century, not out of fear but out of hope. That hope had been proven false by those who chose war over peace. Now the galaxy would learn what happened when humanity stopped being patient and started being honest about who they really were. The last warning had been given, and it had been ignored. Now there would be no more warnings, only consequences for those who chose poorly and protection for those who chose wisely. Earth's children were no longer pretending to be weak, and the galaxy would never be the same again.